Okay, again, to all those who are watching this video, as I said in my last video, I am reading through the Bible. I've read through the Bible 8 times. This is going to be my 9th time. But between 8 and 9, it's been a long time of not reading the Bible. So it's like starting all over again. And when I used to read through the Bible, what I would always do each time I would read through it is I would write down a different observation. So this is my Bible observation book. It has a lot of scriptures in there that I've written down based upon things that I have noticed as I've been reading through the Bible. A lot of stuff that I don't remember. In the case of reciting from memory and quoting from memory and so on, which will be remembered eventually. But I always wanted to share what I observe from the Bible as I'm reading through the Bible, because not only does it motivate me to keep reading through the Bible so that I can keep posting, but it would also help those who maybe they don't have the time to read through the Bible, they're too lazy to read through the Bible, they find the Bible boring and they're unwilling to read through the Bible, a number of reasons. But a lot of Christians, I have noticed, have not read through the Bible cover to cover. So I'm reading 40 chapters a day. Today is the 1st of June, and currently I'm at chapter 35 in the book of Genesis. So I have 5 chapters more to read so that I can get to chapter 40. If you read 40 chapters a day, you can get through the entire Bible in a month. So tomorrow I'm going to read 40 more chapters and keep going just like that. But anyways, there is something that I want to share that I've noticed, and I wrote it down a long time ago when I read the Bible before, but it's something that came back up as I've been reading through the book of Genesis. And it is Genesis chapter because the light is in my eyes, like I can barely see. Hold on. It's Genesis chapter 31, verse 13. It says, I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, where you made a vow to me. Now arise, leave this land, and return to the land of your birth. Now, why is this important? Why is it important? It is important because when you read verse 11 and verse 12, it says this, Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Lift up now your eyes and see that all the male goats which are mating are striped, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel. And then it continues on what I just read. In this particular passage, you see where the angel of the Lord identifies himself as God. And this angel of the Lord appeared to Jacob in a dream. One could assume safely that in Jacob's dream, he saw God. And before you cut this video off, because you believe that no one ever saw God in the Old Testament, because it is a buzz phrase. No one can see God and live. No one has seen God. But the Old Testament differs from that statement. And I'm going to show you some passages. I have cataloged in my Bible observation book 15 examples of when people actually saw God. But I'm only going to be quoting 5. So the first place is Genesis chapter 16, verse 13. Genesis chapter 16, verse 13. And it says this, Then she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her. You are a God who sees. For she said, have I even remained alive after seeing him? This is Hagar speaking of her encounter with God when she saw him. Genesis chapter 32, verse 30 is the next one. It says, so Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been preserved. And then the next one is in Hosea. Well, let's not read Hosea. It's Hosea 12, 3 and 4, but let's not read that one because Hosea 12, 3 and 4 is Hosea writing about the event in Genesis chapter 32, verse 30, when Jacob spoke with the angel of the Lord, who is identified as God. The next place we want to look at is Exodus chapter 33, verse 11. And if you want, you can look at Hosea 12, verse 3 and 4 if you want. But I'm not going to read that one at this point because I want to get through this as fast as possible. So 33, verse 11, book of Exodus. The Bible says, thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, just as a man speaks to his friend. When Moses returned to the camp, his servant Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent. So these are some examples, and as I said, I have 15. I have a lot of people who have seen God. And as I've been reading through the book of Genesis, this just brought me back to when I wrote these down, and this just shows me the importance of being able to read through the Bible, having the time to read through the Bible, and making sure you do read through the Bible, because you hear things like people have never seen God in the Old Testament. You hear people preach that stuff all the time, but people have actually seen God. God has revealed himself to people in the Old Testament and preserved their life. Did not allow them to die, allowed them to see him, allowed them to see his form, and they did not die. Angels are spirits. Angels are spirits, and angels appeared to men and women in the Old Testament, and they were seen. God is spirit, and God can appear to men and women and be seen as well, and he has. Jesus said that no one has seen the Father in John chapter 6. So, the only explanation for that Bible difficulty, if you want to call it a Bible difficulty, is that the God they were seeing is God the Son. And just so that I leave you with the verse that I just quoted, John chapter 6, verse 37. Wait, am I here forgetting which passage? Okay, hold on, let me see. It's John chapter 5, verse 37. 36, 35. I don't remember. But there's a passage in the book of John. See why I'm having been reading through the Bible, reading the Bible very much. But anyways, the verse that I'm trying to find is when Jesus says, not that anyone has seen the Father, the Son of God, he has seen the Father. Something along those lines. Here I am, being determined to find it. Yes, here we are. John chapter 6, verse 46. It says, "Not that anyone has seen the Father except the one who is from God. He has seen the Father." So Jesus says he's the only one who's seen the Father. No one has seen the Father. But people have seen God in the Old Testament. So the only conclusion that can be made, the only solution to this Bible difficulty, if it is considered a Bible difficulty, is that the person they saw in the Old Testament was Jesus Christ, the pre-incarnate Christ. We can call it a Christophany, which is the theological term for the appearances of Christ pre-incarnate. And we can end this here. I'm going to get back to my reading so that I can finish up these last 5 chapters, and then I can start reading this book that I'm trying to get through. General Introduction to the Bible. It tells you how we got the Bible, and it is just an advanced look at what is called bibliology. So I'm going to get some reading done, and then I'm going to study some Greek. But first, got to get through these chapters. Thank you all for listening. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that these videos I'm making are helpful. All right? Have a good night. God bless you all.